So in my hand is a brand new compensator from Harrington Arms, and this one is specifically for the Ruger RXM, a gun that I've been extremely excited about, mainly because I feel like it's the perfect template to kind of have a lot of fun with. And I think if you kind of follow the model, you'll have a lot of fun too. What do I mean by that? As in, it's one of those guns that it's based on the Glock Gen 3 platform. So it's got a lot of support, but it is also unique enough in certain ways that companies are going out of their way to create different products. And why are they going out of their way? Because you're buying the gun and you're excited for the gun. So I was super excited when the guys that I met recently at GunCon, one of the best gun events in the industry. If you're not there next year, I'm going to be a little sad. The guys from Harrington Arms, the guys who made that really sick, if you've seen it on YouTube, it was this crazy build that they did for the Springfield Echelon, where they made it like super flat with this crazy comp and this weighted flashlight. And it was great. But I'm sure you've seen that. And if you haven't, go watch it, right? And I was talking to the guys at GunCon, and they were like, hey, we're coming out with some new stuff. And then I found out they were making a compensator for the Echelon. And in my mind, I'm like, listen, if they're making the compensator for the Echelon, it's going to be great. So I had to get one in. So we got one in, and you guys will see some footage with it eventually. Be patient. And then, of course, we had to ask one of the guys who put blood, sweat, and tears behind that business, creating cool products, sharing the products, selling the products, to come on and share his thoughts on what they did to make this thing cool. And if you're lucky, and if you're good, maybe we'll share some exclusive secret sauce. What are they doing next? Stuff that hasn't been announced yet. Hopefully. Let's go ahead and bring Jake on the show. Jake, welcome to Gun Club Radio.
Thanks for having me on, dude.
Dude, well, first of all, thank you for giving me your evening. I know this isn't always easy because people have stuff to do, and you coming on, that means a lot. I appreciate that.
Of course.
And well, yes, thank you. And with this compensator, Ruger RXM, I guess my first question is, why didn't we just do like a universal comp? Did we need to do a very specific comp? Because I've seen other people with one, but it looked a little different. Like, what was the mindset behind that from the team overall?
I mean, honestly, to be really simple with it is aesthetics. I think if there's something that we've noticed in the last 5 years in the industry is people want a product that not only performs well, but they want something that is aesthetically pleasing as well. And given the RXM, it is based off a Glock Gen 3 platform, right? But it has its own unique slide design, which is why we were able to put the fins on the comp and design it the way it is. It also, in my opinion, has a little bit more going on than what you would see on your stock Glock. So that opened the window for us to put more time into the visual and aesthetic feel of the comp. So,
yeah, well, I definitely agree that it needed a little extra love in regards to making it visually unique. Because I've seen some like universal comps for it, yeah, and it's like, okay, like that's cool. But what you guys did with this one, and I'll describe it for the audio guys, because there's a few people, especially over on the Firearms Radio Network, we want to say thank you guys for tuning into this one. With this specific compensator, it's got the same, I guess, angle of, oh my gosh, serrations. That's the word. I was like hunting for it.
There you go.
It's got a similar, actually pretty much the same pattern of serrations on it. And of course, where it mates with the slide, it does so perfectly. It looks really good. And I guess my only gripe would be, it is a little bit long. It's a little bit long. When you're talking to the guys, I mean, listen, who doesn't love a few extra inches, right? But when you're talking to the guys in the R&D and the engineering, and they're just like, hey, let's do it this way. Like, did they ever say like, hey, we actually need to give it a few extra millimeters here for this? Or is it just ended up being that way?
Yeah, I mean, so you kind of bring up a good point, dude. The whole length thing has been a topic of discussion for us, at least for the last 3 to 4 months. Because I've had a lot of LE agencies reach out to me and they want to use our compensators, but they're typically, an inch or just shy of an inch. So holster compatibility is a thing now. A lot of people like to
Yeah.
run duty holsters now as well. So you do have to keep that in mind. What we're battling is the mounting method. Okay. So there's pros and cons to everything, right? The pro is that you can mount that comp to any half by 28 barrel for the RXM series, i.e. a Gen 3 Glock barrel,
Hmm.
and you're good to go. Okay. The con is because of the way that it has to mount, because it has to have the neck space for the set screws and everything to mount correctly on the neck of the barrel versus the threads of the barrel. The length has to come along with that, unfortunately. So
Right. And I could accept that answer. At least there's
sure.
some sort of logic behind it. It wasn't just like, hey, we got kind of lazy. We sorry. It
I mean,
wasn't
dude,
as
in your
compact as it
defense,
could be.
yeah, no, 100%. In your defense, that's like one thing I've been pushing our engineering guys hardcore about because we kind of live in like a micro compensator world right now. That's patterns and trends, right? Like you kind of have to follow that, especially when it comes to marketing and when it comes to design. In terms of comp design right now, the market is thick, man. So innovation is a big thing, and aesthetics and engineering and all that. So I'm right there with you. Completely agree. I understand.
Well, I mean, there's always, design patterns. Can we
Hmm.
do different things that the market is asking for? And specifically me, I'm like, oh, could it have been a little shorter? It's not going to kill me. Like pure, like that's just is what it is. And if I really love this setup, I can always go and reach out to a custom shop and say like, hey, these are the dimensions. Can you build me a holster that's compatible with this setup?
Sure.
That's
Yep.
just reality. And I appreciate you for taking the hard question first, because it's like, ooh, you know, how do you even answer that? And I think you did a pretty good job of explaining that.
Hmm.
That
Oh, I
said,
mean, yeah, I totally get it.
yeah. Now, with that, I actually really like the way you guys implement this, because I was a little nervous because I've been using a lot of the there's a lot of compensators on the market, right? And I've used a few that have like a direct, like you don't even need the threads. It's 50 state legal, da da da. Which,
Hmm.
this is
Yeah.
more of a traditional design, which is actually really good because there's a lot of Gen 3 barrels out there that are like
Hmm.
$30. And you can get some that are like $200, right? But
Yep.
there's a lot of like really inexpensive barrels that
Hmm.
you can say, like, oh, I'm just going to grab that, put it in my RXM, you know, screw it on, back it off about 2 screws, and then hit the set screws with some Loctite, and boom, it's ready to go. Like it's not
Yeah.
that hard
Hmm.
versus what people have always said, like, oh man, you got to be careful because you got to get the thing and you got to get the shims. And it's like, that sounds intimidating. This is not.
Hmm. Yeah, it's also a lot less financially to bite off than like a QD comp or a threadless compensator. So if you're trying to dip your toe into the like compensator world, paying $89 for, some performance on your end is a very small price to pay compared to, what else is out there.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like, and I was actually, when I went to the website and I was looking at the price, I was like, oh, this is actually really inexpensive compared to the other stuff that I'm accustomed to seeing. And even what it would
Yeah.
cost to go send your gun off to get ported or something from one of the guys who they do a great job, but it's not cheap. Like
Hmm.
this is
Yep.
a financial investment versus okay, you get the comp. It's got a pretty simple way to attach it. It's not overly complex. And if for some reason you decide, hey, comp life's not for me, or you move on from that platform, go into something else, get another comp for that, or whatever, you don't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, like I've, I've done a lot to this gun. Am I even going to be able to sell it, or am I going to get my value?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, when
you
you
can
when
figure
you
that
port
out.
a sliding barrel, you're definitely married to it, man, for sure.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
100%.
There's
Yeah.
no going back.
Both financially and physically. So,
Seriously, yeah. And I'm all about the ports and the slides, but
mhm.
there is also the other side of that where it's like, hey, this is kind of an interesting trend. I don't know if you've seen it, and I know you mentioned some of your LE people
Mhm.
are interested in like, hey, can we get that higher performance? On the other side, do you feel like some people, as you've been an instructor and in the instructing world for what 10 plus years, um, are
Yeah, about Yeah, about 8, 9 years now. Yep.
Okay, so nearly a decade, right?
Yeah, nearly a decade.
And
Yep.
I'm sure you didn't come up with all this stuff on your own. This is you're
Mhm.
taking people's decades of experience and you're stacking it on what you've learned. And so really, it's more than a decade, but we'll claim 8 years for you. Um,
Right, I got you.
no, but have you somebody was talking about like people sometimes not all the time will get a comp and that will be their crush. They'll be like, it'll make me shoot gooder. It's like, well, what's your thoughts on that? What have you seen?
No.
What's reality based on what you know?
Yeah, dude, I think a lot of people think because our name brand is a compensator, right? We are like we're gonna die on the hill of a compensator and nothing else. We're probably the only company out there that's gonna tell you that you don't need a compensator. Okay. You also don't need +5 extensions. I also don't need a weapon light on my handgun. I also don't need a magwell on my handgun. But having all of these things is really nice. Being able to shoot with two hands on the gun under low light conditions while still being able to push light in different areas and put effective rounds on target is great to have a weapon light in that aspect. Um, Mitigating the incorrect or problems with the reload or what's the word I'm looking here? Mitigating the error on reloads utilizing a magwell, great. Carrying more ammo with a +5 extension, not required, but it's certainly nice to have when you need it. So the way I look at compensators is kind of the way I look at everything else in life is the edge is out there. Why are you not taking it? Um, my one of my a good friend of mine, Austin, from a different podcast I was on at a different a few weeks ago. He made a really good analogy, and he was like, we take we try to make things simpler, or we take the advantage or the edge in other aspects of our life, but for some reason, when it comes to shooting, and we build compensators into that picture, people all of a sudden have a really big problem with it and really want to go right for the jugular because the perception is that if you have a compensator or you have all these gizmos and gadgets on your firearm, you're trying to avert the hard skills or get around the fundamentals. And really, that's just not the case. Okay. I just want less feedback from the gun, and I don't want to put as much tension in the gun. Therefore, I have found value in a compensator. That is for me speaking personally. Everyone has their own value of what they find in compensators, but yeah, man, I mean, you don't need it, and if someone's telling you you need it, uh, they're wrong. Okay, it's an accessory for a reason. So
Yeah, I mean they might be trying to sell you a bridge somewhere, so I don't know. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
Some people they get behind a trend, and because they've invested so much and become so like emotionally affected by it, they're like, "This is what we have to do. Like, we have to
hmm
own nods." I'm like, "You don't." It may be a good idea for like some scenarios, but like, pay off your house,
yeah,
please.
no, yeah, dude, literally.
Listen, I know I hurt some feelings. Somebody's got their feelings hurt, and if your feelings are hurt,
hmm
go ahead, drop a comment on the video. Help us with the algorithm while you're at it. Um,
Yeah.
no, but I mean, it's fascinating because beyond what we've talked about, there are some like myths and rumors, right? Um, one being you can't shoot one handed with, and I guess I'll go through like three or four of them while we're here.
Go ahead.
Is it
Yeah.
true you can't shoot one handed with a compensated handgun, like from retention, as in the gun's tucked in close to your body?
Nope. Not at all. You want me to elaborate on that or?
Yeah, I mean, if you could.
Okay. So I think that analogy kind of comes from the pre-2020 days when, if you can remember, like when the big three were the thing, like Agency Arms, Zev, and Salient Arms, like back when
Hmm.
they were the king of the Glock world and the Glock compensator world.
Hmm.
I think those wise tales have still trickled over into today's modern technology around compensators. We've come a long way in the last 5 years when it comes to comps, and they are very reliable. Now, where I can understand that point of view is from a comfort level. Like, yeah, you are getting gas to the face. You are getting sometimes carbon in the face, depending on what ammo you're shooting. So I get it 100%. That's why, again, there's different versions of compensators, right? We have ones that are three ports, so left and right and top. And we also have ones that are just top port only that are nice for close retention shooting. The 365 platform, the Glock platform, PDPs, and there's probably a couple others that I'm not remembering off the top of my head that we make specifically top port only compensators for. One to attack muzzle flip in its whole entirety, and then also for things like close retention shooting, especially on a P365. Like it's generally viewed as a carry gun, so I understand the concept of shooting from retention.
Hey, listen, it's a carry gun today, but when SIG finally drops the 320 platform from their roster, because it's coming one day.
Yeah.
Listen, it's
Oof.
coming one
Yeah.
day, and they come out with the
Yeah.
P365 Pro, which is just a sized up version of the 365 because it's the only platform that they put out in the last like 10 years, minus the P2011s, that doesn't have problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
that's my theory.
I think
They can pay me
you're
for that
onto
or not.
something. hmm
But
I mean, the fuse,
why did
man,
I
is
even bring that
borderline a
up?
full size handgun. It's okay. It's all right. It's hard not to right now. I'll be honest. I've been to a handful of expos the last few months, and the SIG conversation always comes up, man. You can't avoid it. It's totally
Hmm.
okay. So,
Yeah, no, it is a fascinating one.
mhm.
That being said, now we talked about like, okay, the rumor or the myth of, and I didn't even prep you for this. So if you like goof one
You're
up,
good. Yeah,
audience,
fire
please
away.
give them a break. But there's another one where they say like, listen, man, you can do all that fancy compensated shooting. I'm going to shoot with a good old fashioned handgun that's not comped, not ported, not all the different things, because you know that conversation between what is comped and what is ported, that's confusing enough. But shooting in low light, people say don't do it; it'll blind you. Literally, if you end up getting into a shooting or something serious, the light that comes out of the top side of that barrel is going to blind you, and it's going to be a liability. What do you say to that?
So coming from the instructor world, uh, military and law enforcement realm, um, my first response to that is normally, why are you staring at the ports? Um, and normally when you shoot under low light with a compensator, or let's just say like the C cuts that like Glock did, like the 17C or 22C, 19C, those are known to really have that like V fire formation, especially at night. Um, those are there for less than a tenth of a second. That's not throwing out your night vision, especially if you're target focused. What matters? What's going on in the front of your handgun? It's there for, again, less than a tenth of a second. There was an article that came out a while ago that really dispelled that myth. And then also, it's not just compensators that throw flash. If you're shooting plus P at night, dude, you have, like, especially if you're shooting a Glock 19 or a shorter gun, you have a fireball coming out of the end of your gun because not all the powder is burning in the barrel. It's burning on the
Mm-hmm.
outside of the barrel as well. So if you're shooting like any sort of defensive loads, it's kind of a I would call that a fun lore myth. Is what I would call that. So
Yeah, no, actually, I brought that up because it's something that I've experimented with a little bit, and I've gotten a cool opportunity to shoot a lot of compensated guns in the last few years. Even though
yeah.
I'm not the biggest proponent of it, I'm like, hey, listen, you can do it, but it's a choice. You make a choice. Don't feel obligated, right? Um, and it's also a trend. So you know, be skeptical
Yeah.
of all trends.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest, I understand both sides of the aisle on that conversation for sure.
Yeah. Now there is one thing I wanted to bring up, which I have shot both compensated and just standard handguns. And one of the questions that I had, and I actually talked to CCI, they make Federal and Blazer and a couple different well-known ammunitions, and they say with our like premium defensive loads, we actually have the powder that we load into that is, I guess, specially formulated to not create a lot of extra flash. So I'm like,
Sure.
oh, well, that's good. So if you're gonna test it and be like, okay, I'm gonna do an experiment, which one has the bigger flash? You've got to use some like some HST or something to really actually
hmm
see what the flash signature looks like. And on the other side of that, I've done those tests, and it's really not much different. Like you will sometimes get a flash out of a standard, um, you know, 3.5 to 5 inch gun. Like, it's just the nature of handguns. There's going to be a flash. So prepare yourself for that.
Hmm.
Either way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like the muzzle flash point of view has really deep roots from the military side. Um, that's definitely a thing, especially like in military points of view and aspects. Like if you're looking at a wood line 300 meters away, you can identify where troops are based off muzzle flashes and stuff like that. I get that argument. Okay, but when we're talking about a compensated handgun, you know, I'm not going to put factors around it. 9 times out of 10, it's 25 yards and in, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
muzzle flash is not really even on the menu of my concerns at that point.
Right. I mean,
So,
it's obviously we put it out there. You explained it to the best of your
sure.
ability. And from my side, I would say go test it yourself. Like if you're really concerned, get a buddy who has a comp gun, run some HST
Yeah.
or whatever like high end like self defense ammo through it and see, is it actually creating problems and is the comp actually helping you? Because I guess here's another question that people have. Um, well, you gotta run 147 through it before the comp really kicks in, or something something high pressure or whatever. Um,
Sure.
where are you guys with that? Like, what's the philosophy? Where do you guys believe the comp actually helps, or does it help with all rounds and just more with some and less with others?
Yeah. So generally speaking, comps are more effective based off how much thrust they have, right? So if you're running a hotter load, a hotter round, you're giving the comp more thrust to make it actually work more efficiently. Okay, if it's
Hmm.
a well-built compensator, that is.
And just
Um,
physics there.
right. Now that being said, also again depends on the company you're running with. Us personally at Harrington, we base our compensators to work around the factory recoil spring. Okay, so our comps will cycle with 115, 124, 147, whatever it is you're using. The only thing that we kind of have to put as a disclaimer out there is we suggest running 500 rounds through the gun with the threaded barrel you intend to use. This being said, every Glock I have purchased, and this is also for a lot of our customers as well. Um, a lot of these guns I purchased brand new, put a comp on them, and they run just fine. If you try doing that with a PDP or maybe the Canic Meta series, they come from the factory inherently oversprung. So those guns in particular, you need to put at least 500 rounds through them. Um, I've seen it both ways. I work in customer service as well at Harrington, and I have people like they'll send in emails like, "Hey, I'm having trouble with my compensator. Now it's causing the gun to malfunction, et cetera, et cetera." And you find out they brought a Glock 19X brand new, put a brand new aftermarket threaded barrel in it, stacking tolerances. Then they put a compensator on it, stacking more tolerances on a gun that's never been fired yet. And then on top of that, it still has the factory oil on it. So all of these, the totality of the circumstances, yes, it will probably cause the gun to malfunction and not work well. Okay. Um, so yeah, I mean, depending on what we're talking about, depending on the gun, there is definitely a break-in process. So for sure.
Yeah, I think I saw a pretty aggressive break in period for your comps, which I didn't experience it yet, so I can't tell you. But I've
Yeah.
online and whatnot. I hadn't seen anybody saying like, "Oh my gosh, it's just this break-in is ridiculous. I'm gonna sending it back," because people get really upset
Yeah.
when the guns don't work right out the box.
Hmm.
But you're saying, just as a customer service guy, as somebody who's dealt with the public and your clients and whatever, like there could be some issues if you don't understand the way guns work and you're asking more
Yeah.
of it than you should.
There's another factor we're forgetting too is the fundamental aspect. I think a lot, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people be surprised at the amount of people that don't really know how to put proper pressures on a handgun or really how to hold a handgun in general. Um, and you have to remember that when you put a compensator on a handgun, you are slowing down the reciprocation of the slide, which is why there is less recoil.
Hmm.
So if you're doing that with a limp wrist or a not efficient grip, you will probably experience malfunctions of the stovepipe type. So
Yeah. I mean, I've actually, it's frustrating, right? Because you spend a lot of money or use, in my case, you have a lot of cool friends in the industry, and they'll send you some stuff, and you can put together the
mhm.
coolest, most expensive version of a singular handgun. It's like, how did we
Yeah,
make this $500 handgun cost $1,200? Well, we put this on it, we put this on it, and then we put that comp on it. Yeah, we did all the things, and then you give it to an amateur or somebody who's first time shooter, or they don't shoot, but
hmm
every 5 years when their buddies take them to the range and force them to shoot, and they get through
right.
one round and it doesn't look good. It looks bad, and you're like, oh, and
hmm
then they stovepipe it, and you're like, hmm, it's not the gun. It's not the gun.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
Uh-huh.
um, and probably the biggest controversy I've ever been involved with was not completely involved, but the information was published on one of my channels where there was an issue or a few issues going on with a compensated handgun that was put it into the market, big names attached to it. People were really excited for it. Um, and a lot of people were saying like, "Oh my gosh, I'm having issues. I'm having so many issues. I can't, I'm putting 115 through it, and those guns are known to run 124 better." It actually had two springs in the box, so like if you didn't know how to load or how to kind of gauge what ammo to use, which spring, you would cause malfunctions. And I'm thinking about what you were talking about with like, hey, listen, like if you don't kind of understand, like you're changing springs, but your comps are designed to work with the OEM springs,
Yes. 100%.
and it's just interesting to see like the differences between competent shooters and the question of, is this actually a problem? Like, okay, just as somebody who's worked in the customer service side, not to say anyone will have a problem, but things happen. Manufacturing is not perfect. It's
hmm
what do they say? Imperfect science or whatever. We're practicing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, at what point do you say like, oh snap, something is off with this? How can we need to address it to help the customer out to get them whole? What are some things that could possibly happen even?
In regards to like metallurgy with a compensator, is that
Well,
like,
I kind of went everywhere with that question, so I apologize. But
oh,
like, when do you realize that it's not like user error, and then how do you, I guess, diagnose that there is something that's not user error with the comp?
oh, okay. Yeah, no. So this is the question I ask myself every day almost at this point. Because like sometimes I sit there and I'm like, man, is this guy actually having a problem, or is it this, and this? And basically, what you have to start doing is asking questions that get straight to the point. So I normally ask a few questions off the rip. Is the gun brand new? Is the barrel brand, like the threaded barrel, brand new? Have you fired the gun at all previously? And is there any lubrication on it? Generally speaking, when I see issues come in with our comps, the answer is like yes to all this. Like, yes, it's brand new. Yes, the barrel is brand new. The gun's brand new. I've only put 50 rounds to the gun before I swap out the barrel. Um, so in terms of like using the comp and firing it, yeah, like that's the mistakes you can see. Um, there can be metallurgy issues as well. Like it's not really a secret that you can find on Reddit. When we released the early versions of our dagger comp, we made it out of 6061 aluminum,
Hmm.
and
Which is a bit
those
softer than
comps,
7075.
yeah, exactly. And we had some issues with like the comps tearing, like right at the top part of the top crossbar that connected the comp together. Like that was cracking because bullets were striking it after so much carbon buildup.
Mm.
So, we learned our lesson there. It happens, man. Like a V1 magwell of the dagger that we made. We had some issues with fitting as well there because the injection molding process that PSA uses, kind of rough. I'm not dogging on them, but um, when you're selling a dagger lower for $30, there's a reason why there's a low cost to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I support their mission of putting a firearm in every American's hand, 100% behind that, but we have to address, the engineering like we have to.
Right. I mean,
So
as a third party, I guess, support company, like you provide accessories that directly interface
uh,
with the product. The reality is some things, unless you have perfect QC, like what kind of machines are you running through it? Can you scan each one of these to say it's to spec? And if you're not going to do that or invest the dollars in doing that, and of course raise the price in the process,
mhm,
it's going to be like trying to fit an AK. You know, they're all different.
yeah,
No two is
yeah,
the same. So,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
man,
valid point.
that's interesting. Now,
Yeah.
with that said, we addressed it like, okay, there's user error. What can go wrong with a comp is baffle strikes pretty much like out of a compensator. Like, is that
Um,
super common if you really let the gun get gunked up, or is that really just in that specific run that did happen?
yeah, I'll be honest, most of our warranty claims that come in are from people who don't clean the compensator and they shoot it so much to the point that the lead actually builds up and you can see where the rounds were caving through the lead. And then finally the lead buildup just got to the point where it hit the top of the comp or hit a fin on the comp and it cracked it. That
Wow.
is most of the warranty stuff that I see come in. I mean, what else could go wrong with the compensator? I feel like it's honestly those problems can be maybe brand specific, but generally speaking, in defense of those that are not really into compensators, the more stuff you add to a firearm, generally speaking, are more points of failure, right?
Hmm.
So totally understand that mindset, totally get it. As somebody who's been running a compensator since 2018, and I've ran pretty much literally every name brand out there at this point. Um, the Yeah, I feel like it's, you're going to have the cycling issues. You have to pay attention to the porting size. Like, uses as an example, this is nothing against Agency Arms. I had one of their early compensators. It was so effective that my gun didn't always cycle properly. And in their defense, they do, disclose that you're supposed to maybe change out the recoil springs if the gun requires you to do so. It's not necessarily made for the OEM spring. So
Hmm.
if you don't pay attention to stuff like that, yeah, man, I mean, it can bite you 100%.
Yeah.
You'll end up tap racking your way through a whole mag. So
Nah, but
yeah,
we've seen that, and
yeah,
the fascinating thing is when you really start to break down things that can go wrong with a gun. Um, there's so many things. God forbid you start playing with the trigger and you realize you're getting light strikes, and you're like, how does that impact that?
yeah,
It does. It does.
uh-huh,
Sorry.
yeah,
Go to gunsmithing school while you're at it. I
hmm
did notice with this specific handgun, we did have a nice big old cutout on the port of the comp, right? With or
hmm
whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of OEM manufacturers that are saying like, "Hey, we're porting our thing. It's compensated, blah blah blah," and it's the smallest holes. And maybe it helps a little bit, but it's not very big. And then you also mentioned like, "Hey, our designs work specifically with OEM springs,
uh-huh,
the OEM setup." Which does tell me that you guys are holding back a little bit on how aggressive it could be. Because if you say like, "Hey,
100%.
run it with this ammo, run it with this spring," it'll be super flat. Like,
Hmm.
how much is enough? Like we talked about the manufacturers that have like the tiniest little ports. How much is enough to really be effective, and how much is too much? And I may be asking a question that's a little bit too broad, unless you're
Hmm.
like in the engineering side. But
So yeah, I mean, truthfully, I'm not super involved in the engineering side, but what I can tell you, obviously, I kind of like what I said earlier. I mean, an effective comp is one that if your gun's not cycling, technically speaking, you have an effective compensator because it's doing its job, right? It's slowing down the reciprocation of the slide so much to the point the gun's not cycling, obviously causing cycling issues, but it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? You can change out recoil springs, man. 100%. I've done it on a few compensators. I've done it on ours. Like I changed out to like a 12 or 14 pound recoil spring, and there is definitely less. How do I explain this? Twang or um, spring back forward. Like, do you know when you shoot
mhm.
a gun, like there's that. after wobble maybe a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
If you ever
and
shoot in
after,
slow motion, you see that gun snap back to zero and then
yes,
overcorrect and then come back in and then
hmm
walk back to that dot on target. It's weird.
yeah. The aftermarket springs, from what I've noticed, they seem to kind of eliminate that twang. And it seems like there's less pushback from the slide as well. When you're running a comp with just the OEM spring, you're still getting the good effectiveness, like the thrust that you want from the comp. But there's always ways to make it more effective. The thing is that it boils down to the end user, okay? And whether we want to accept it or not, where we are right now, not everybody wants to change out the recoil spring. That demographic has changed extensively since pre-2020 because compensator technology has come so far. But generally speaking, still, people are very hesitant to change out the recoil spring. They still want to just be able to slap the comp on and then kind of get, the benefit of some muzzle flip reduction. Could it be greater if you change out the recoil spring and enlarge the ports? 100%, man. Absolutely. The thing is not everybody wants to bite off that commitment. That's really what it boils down to.
Will Harrington Arms ever sell a combination setup where it's like, hey, for this specific gun, we like this spring. Here's the spring. Here's the comp. Here's a barrel. Like, it's all together. This is, flat or rust. Like, this is, Flatsville.
So we have started selling barrel and comp combos on the website for the simplicity of newer shooters. They don't always know. To me and you, this gun stuff's really easy, especially when it comes to like understanding compatibility and parts. But like when you're a new guy or like you're kind of the enthusiast, you're not like super knee deep in all the specs and parts around these. So we have talked about making Glock springs because we make one for the SIG 320. It's not really a secret that the 320 is going in the direction that it is. So we're kind of moving away from that platform. And we make those recoil springs, the 3.9-inch ones. So we want to be able to do the same thing with the Glock. And we have tossed around the idea of doing a barrel comp and recoil spring combo. The thing is like just like anything else, with a quality product, you have to vet it, you have to test it. There's an R&D process.
Yeah.
We're luckily able to do all these things in-house. So I don't think the timeline on that is super far away. There's just other things that have to happen before it comes out.
Sure. Which is, I think, in a way reassuring. It's like, okay, there's at least one company out there who's thinking ahead and saying, like, how do we give people what they need? But also, you do have to, as a business, kind of weigh it and say, like, all right, how many people actually need this? Or is it just one guy and that could be a phone call? That could have been an email, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, dude, you're right. You got to follow demand, 100%.
Right. Right. Or you end up going out of business and people are like, well, I love that company. What happened? Well, they try to please everyone. You can't do that.
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
Man, there's so many other places we can go, but I don't want to make this conversation, specifically this one, too long. And I feel like we could do this again at some point, just because
Sure.
you've got a lot to say. But
Oh, yeah.
can we talk a little bit about? There's another myth.
Yeah, go ahead.
Should have stacked it with the other ones. And this is not actually a myth. This is something I've seen on certain websites and forums and whatnot, that there is some ammunition that is pretty much unsafe or unwise to shoot through a compensated handgun because of things that could happen with that round.
Yeah, 100%. Right now, and I'm kind of salty about this. I'm not gonna lie. The bimetal cartridge stuff. It's not just us. I'm pretty confident at this point. It's almost every compensator company and anybody that does porting. They all have a disclaimer on their website: no bimetal cartridges, because that coating is not FMJ. It's not a full metal jacket, so it's peeling off and or tapping, baffle striking the comp. It's not safe to shoot. And honestly, this was never a thing before the whole COVID stuff. And I hate to keep bringing that up, but like the bimetal cartridge stuff was out there, but it wasn't as prevalent. And that's kind of what I think. Oh, what's that ammo company everybody shoots? It's not CCI.
You're talking about
Blazer.
Blazer? Hmm.
Um,
I've
yeah,
got so much. I've got
Blazer
so much of it.
before made great ammo, and then they
Yeah.
switched over the bimetal stuff, and it kind of. I'm not going to sit here and say it put a nail in their coffin, but it drove a lot of people away from that brand because they're like, there's this big disclaimer around bimetal cartridges, and quite frankly, I understand it. So
Hmm.
we at Harrington have a huge disclaimer about that because we have had people frag comps shooting bimetal ammo, and
Yeah.
you know, if they want to cheap out on the manufacturing process for ammo, that's not our cross to bear. So,
Yeah. I mean, you got to tell your customers and kind of keep it moving because it's not fair
right.
for you to try to, like you said, bear that. I've experienced this weird phenomenon when shooting Blazer specifically, which is a CCI company, through
Hmm.
um, was it a TTI Combat and a couple other guns, where you're shooting, and all of a sudden you feel something on you. You're like, what is that? Like the gun's extended out, full extension, and I'm feeling something hitting me, like in the face. I'm like, is that just a little bit of carbon? Is that a little bit of lead, or is that some of the jacket peeling off and getting
Hmm.
me? And I don't know. I've just experienced it. I don't know if you have or if you have an answer to that or
Yeah. Oh, 100%, dude. Especially in a class setting. Um, I'm still trying to get to the bottom of this as well because it has happened to me. Pretty much at this point. I can only think of one compensator I haven't seen do that, but I have had that. Like it's not quite jacketing. It almost feels like unburnt powder hitting my
yeah,
face, or like
yeah,
that's more. I think that's what it is. And again, I think that kind of dilutes back to an ammo manufacturing thing.
yeah. Because if you're
Or
using,
honestly, go ahead.
well, yeah, well, like you said, it could be ammo, but also the nature of
Mhm.
compensators
Sure.
is what it is. I don't know if you've seen any,
Yeah.
or have any other theories, but you feel free to share them.
Um, yeah. I mean, the other thing is too is I don't think a lot of people know you're supposed to clean your compensator.
Hmm.
Especially if you shoot like a lot. Like at this point, I'm probably shooting 2,000 rounds a month. I around the 3,000 round mark, I always clean because I've seen people frag their comps, and it's not really an experience and not a great experience because you just one lost your financial investment, and then two, it can ruin your gun as well.
Yeah,
So um, I stay on top of that process, but generally speaking, when I have seen that happen to me, it's because their lead buildup is so bad in the compensator, it starts spitting out the ports.
yeah.
So,
Well, that is interesting. I've experienced it pretty early on,
mhm,
like under 500 rounds. So it's probably
sure,
an ammo thing at that point. But
yeah,
and you can actually see it if you take like a slow mo camera, something like 120 frames, maybe 240, and slow it down. You can see like, oh, that's exploding out the top, and it's not just a little fireball, which is nice. We love a little fireball, but like that's little tiny flakes, and it's
hmm,
landing on me. It's landing.
yep,
It's interesting how that works. Ammo matters.
hmm.
That should be a shirt. Ammo matters. Um, tell me, tell me a secret. What do you guys have? What can't you tell me, or what could you tell me but isn't out there yet?
So I can't tell you the name, but we are working on a quick detach compensator. Um, we were originally going to release it for the 320 platform. We have divulged away from that and have decided to go with the Glock 19 platform. That way, it's good for the Glock 19 and Glock 45, which are pretty much the top selling models right now. Let's see what else. We're gonna is a ecosystem. Okay, so you're gonna be able to attach a compensator to it. You're gonna like a three-port compensator. You're gonna be able to attach a top port only compensator because some people specifically want that. You're gonna be able to attach a blank. So for guys that don't want to get kicked into the open category for running a compensator, you can go shoot in maybe in limited or other divisions now by just putting a weight on the end of the gun, and you don't have to change the barrel out, take the set screws out, deal with all the Loctite seizing and all that stuff. Um, and then also we are developing a suppressor attachment, a direct thread attachment as well. So you'll be able to run your direct thread can with a QD attachment that goes on the end of our barrel. and everything will be concentric, work just fine. We have a prototype right now. We've put about 1,000 rounds through at this point. And we're going to wait to release that, but definitely what's going to come first is the weight and the 3-port compensator for sure. Because we definitely want to make sure we vet the suppressor attachment very much so, because if that goes wrong, you can get a baffle strike in a suppressor, that's an FA item. We don't want to mess up people's stuff. So
yeah, that's
a big vetting
it's huge, and
that.
that's a lot of responsibility. But I love
Mm-hmm.
this concept because that's actually a really crazy concept. Which has it been done? I don't know. I don't know everything, but the idea of like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
QD out. Oh wait, you don't want to. You're competing, as I think people should at least try to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Swap that out for, you said, a weight. Hopefully that doesn't impact their weight regulations or limitations. But I guess
Mm-hmm.
if you know what you're doing, you can make that happen, no problem. And then obviously the idea is in the future that suppressor attachment option will come out, so you won't be kind of locked
Mm-hmm.
into, oh, I bought a compensator, I can only compensate it, I can only make the gun more loud, which is another myth. Do compensators make the guns more loud?
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, they do. Absolutely. I mean, you're diverting gases through smaller ports. 100%. It's gonna have more echo to it. Yeah, I can see that.
Big
I mean,
concern?
I don't personally notice it, but yeah. Is it a concern? No, absolutely not. No.
Now, I will share one guy who lives in our Discord group, and he shoots a lot of indoor IDPA matches. And he says when you're near a wall and you're inside, and the gun is crazy enough, it can be obnoxiously loud. So much so you
I agree
feel
with
it.
that.
So
Yeah, if you have really aggressive porting or really aggressive compensator, yeah, I mean, your teeth will rattle, man. 100%. Yeah.
hey, stop shooting inside. Go outside and shoot. Get some
Yeah.
sunlight, man. So, anyways, I think that's all we're going to cover today. But
Okay.
Jake, I really enjoyed talking with you, and hopefully they did too. And of course, if you guys enjoyed them,
Yeah.
and you want to invite them back on to share more stuff that they're working on and more, myths and rumors, or maybe you have
Yeah.
questions. Maybe you have questions, and we can do a quick follow-up show and just talk about those things. Or maybe we can
Hmm.
go through your gun wall because you got some cool stuff on the wall.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. I got it all, man. I got it all.
Either way, dude, if you could just tell people where to find you guys on social media, don't list a website because YouTube hates that. But
Right.
we'll post your website link on the podcast.
Okay. You can find us on IG at Harrington Arms. And then same thing with YouTube. Just type in Harrington Arms, you'll find us. Our YouTube is fairly large. We have about 250,000 subscribers. Our Instagram, we're just shy of 20K at this point. We also have a Discord chat. If you're interested in joining that, just shoot us a DM. I'll send you the most recent link to it. And we have a Twitter and TikTok as well. Same thing. Just look up Harrington Arms, no spaces, nothing like that, and you'll find us. If you guys want to get in contact with me, my IG is Bazooka Jake 71. Just look it up and you'll find me. Shoot me a DM. Ask me whatever questions you want.
Very cool. Well, Jake, appreciate that. And we'll go ahead and do the outro real quick. Guys, thank you so much for watching, listening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I appreciate it. If you're on the Firearms Radio Network, please reach out, say hello, and let me know you're listening. And if you are excited about stuff like the RXM comp, I'm not trying to sell it to you, but I think it looks really good. And of course, if you can find cool ways to enjoy your firearms, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to have fun. Do that. Go have fun. Lastly, I think we have 2 of these left, the Gun Club Radio hats. And what we're doing for those who are willing to go ahead and take the last 2 off of me is there's like 5 people on the list that we're going to just give them a Holocene raid. One of those people are going to win a Holocene raid. So I just need to get rid of the last few of these hats. These are like made locally, sourced locally, all that fun stuff. I could be goofing up one of those words, but hopefully you can buy that, and hopefully you can win one of these weapon lights or something else if you can't use that. All right, guys. See you next time. Thank you so much. My name is Aaron, Gun Club Radio. See you next time.